I'm Brittany Lewis, a breaking news reporter here at Forbes. Joining me now is Jonathan Porter, chief meteorologist at AccuWeather. Jonathan, thank you so much for joining me.
Good to be with you today.
As I know, because I live in the Northeast, we are preparing for the first major snowstorm of the season. What can you tell us? What can we expect, and when can we expect it?
Well, this is going to be a big storm, especially across the interior, and it's particularly noteworthy because in some parts of the Northeast, it's the most significant snowstorm in 2 years. So people have been extra aware of this and extra preparing. It will take a little bit of time for people to get used to driving again in snow and doing with snow removal and those sorts of things. That's always the case the first storm of the season, but it's amplified this time around because it has been so long in some places since we've had some significant snow. So as far as the details of the snow, we still think the epicenter of the storm is across the corridor from southern New England into northeastern Pennsylvania, where amounts can range from 6 to 12 inches, especially in the higher elevations. And in those areas, we're concerned because that snow is going to come down very quickly. In fact, at a rate of more than 1 inch per hour. That's difficult for some of even the most experienced road crews to deal with. Now, further south along the I-95 corridor, the picture is more complex. We've got an epic battle between cold air to the north and relatively mild air that is coming in from the Atlantic Ocean. That water temperature is about 45 degrees Fahrenheit off the coast of New York, for example. So we can have a sharp variation right near the coast between very little snow accumulating right at the coast and then inland in a place like New York City, a couple of inches, especially in the northern and western suburbs. So the impacts across the city can vary quite a lot in the storm.
If you live in these areas, how should you best prepare? Because when I heard you, the snow is coming down quickly. It could accumulate more than 1 inch an hour. How are you preparing? Because some of us in this region, we haven't seen snow in a few years.
Right. I think there's a couple aspects of it. First of all, as it relates to travel across the eastern part of the country on Friday, it's the calm before the storm. So if you have flexibility in your travel plans and you can get ahead of the storm, that's always the recommendation if you're traveling by road or by air. In this kind of a situation, sometimes the airlines will be a little bit more flexible with you in terms of maybe pushing your flight ahead in terms of getting a seat on another flight or whatnot. So if there's flexibility, that's always a good idea. Otherwise, we're recommending that people be where they need to be during the height of the storm, and not a great situation to be out traveling, especially again in the interior areas. Otherwise, it's an opportunity. People and businesses are having to prepare in some areas for this storm in a way that they haven't in a couple of years. So again, the typical snow removal aspects and the issues around liability and ensuring safety. Businesses and governments are going to be dealing with snow removal in some cases for the first time in a couple of years. So again, just refreshing people about the importance of that. Here at AccuWeather, we serve over half the Fortune 500s and thousands of other businesses, as well as hundreds of local governments, helping them to have the most accurate, proven most accurate forecast for snow and ice. And we've been advising our customers about this threat for several days and helping them to make the very best decision.
I'm definitely planning on hitting the grocery store after I leave work today and then hunkering down for the rest of the weekend. But I do not want to move south just a bit. Winter storm warnings were active in parts of North Carolina, Virginia, Maryland, and West Virginia. So if you live in these areas, what should you be bracing for?
Well, there's a couple of different aspects further south, especially in the southern Appalachians, as you mentioned. First, we're going to be dealing with snow in the higher elevations, and that snow is going to accumulate 6 to 12 inches of snow, especially in the higher ground of Maryland, south central Pennsylvania, down into portions of West Virginia. But further south into the Carolinas, in the higher elevations, the issue there is going to be ice. And it doesn't look like it's going to be an epic ice storm there, the kind of ice storm that can produce a lot of power outages, but it does look like there could be some power outages, and certainly any ice that occurs really creates a coating on the roads and can be a real hazard for travel in those areas. So as you move further south, the issue with this one is a little bit more ice in the higher elevations than it is snow.
Is this looking like, as of now, this storm to be wrapped up by Sunday? Will the commute Monday morning to work be a breeze, or should people be cautious then?
All right, well, the issues are going to linger into Sunday, especially the further north and east you go. So the snow will still be coming down to beat the band across parts of eastern Massachusetts for much of the day on Sunday before it winds down, for example, on Sunday night in a place like Boston, where we're expecting 4 to 8 inches of snow in Boston with higher amounts just to the west of Interstate 495 to the Worcester Hills. So the snow issues will continue there during the day on Sunday, but elsewhere from New York City and points south and westward, we're expecting that the storm will have tapered off by then. And we think that by Monday morning, most places will have had an opportunity to do the appropriate snow removal and cleanup, although some issues could linger, especially across parts of eastern New England. But elsewhere, things will start to get back to normal by the time Monday morning comes along.